Today, we're going to tackle a pretty wild question. What if the key to getting more done wasn't about working harder? What if it was about making all that hard work, well, kind of obsolete? We're going to get into how you can build systems that actually deliver results even when you're not physically there to push things along.
So let's just get right into it and be honest for a second. Does this sound familiar? You were constantly busy, right? Your calendar is jammed full. But when you look back, the real, meaningful progress you're making feels, well, it feels fragile. It's this creeping feeling of losing your clarity, your flexibility, and, ultimately the control over your own time.
If you're nodding along right now, I get it. You're definitely not alone. And there's actually a name for this feeling. It's called the constant effort trap. It's that absolutely exhausting cycle where more activity, more hustle just doesn't seem to add up to more progress.
Okay, so let's really break down what this constant effort trap is all about. Because honestly, understanding the problem is the only way we can even begin to think about getting out of it.
All right, now this slide right here, this is probably the single most important idea we're going to talk about. This is not a motivation problem. It is a structural problem. Just let that sink in for a minute. This isn't about you not being disciplined enough or not trying hard enough. No way. It's about the system, or lack of one, that you're operating in. So if the problem itself is structural, well, it stands to reason the solution has to be structural too. This is the moment where we stop trying to just push a giant boulder up a hill with brute force. Instead, we're going to start looking for a lever. We're making a big pivot from sheer effort to smart design.
And you know what? That lever has a name. It's called digital leverage. I want you to think of this as the complete opposite of brute force. It's the art, really, of building systems that create value all by themselves, working for you in the background, even when you're totally focused on something else.
Okay, so how in the world do we get this leverage? Well, it all starts with a shift in your mindset, and it's built on 5 core principles. Think of these like blueprints for redesigning how you work, so you can create stability, scale, and some real lasting impact.
So here's our game plan. We're going to break down these 5 principles one by one. We'll start with understanding the limits of pure effort and go all the way to creating systems that save you from making those knee-jerk emotional decisions. Let's jump into principle number 1.
So principle 1 forces us to face a hard truth. Effort by itself just doesn't scale. I mean, if your business or your career can only grow when you are personally there working, you've basically built yourself a ceiling. The leverage comes from creating scalable systems. These are assets that can deliver value over and over again, whether you're at your desk or taking a much-needed vacation. But you can't build those systems without principle 2, which is all about clarity. See, the trap here is having unclear positioning. If you don't know exactly who you're trying to help, you just end up reacting to everything, and you waste so much energy. The real leverage is having a stable foundation built on super clear answers. Who is my audience? What specific problem do they have? And what result do I promise? Get that right, and so much wasted effort just vanishes. Now, once you get that clarity, you're going to notice something: repetition. And principle 3 is all about how you deal with it. In the trap, repetition is just a fast track to burnout, like answering the same exact email for the 100th time. But with leverage, you start to see repetition as an opportunity. When you structure that knowledge into a system, like a simple FAQ or a template, that boring chore actually becomes a powerful asset. This brings us to principle 4. And this one is all about understanding what people truly value. The trap is thinking people need more information. Come on, we're all drowning in information. The real leverage, the thing that people will actually pay for, is transformation. They don't want a library, they want a map. Giving people guidance, clear direction, trusted frameworks, that's what makes you stand out today.
And that kind of guidance leads us perfectly into our final principle: decision-making. The trap is living in this constant reactive mode, right? Making every single choice based on urgency and pressure. It's just exhausting. The leverage is when you let your systems make the decisions for you. By building out clear processes, your choices become calm, consistent, and proactive. And this isn't just about getting better outcomes. It's about having a better quality of life.
Okay, so those are the 5 principles, and they sound great in theory, right? But what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's talk about the practical side of things and how we can actually put these systems to work.
So here's how it plays out. For an online business, this means shifting away from custom, one-off projects and toward productized services that can actually scale. In your own career, it's about developing frameworks that you can use again and again, not just ticking off isolated tasks. It means choosing tech that actually supports structure instead of creating more digital noise and distraction. And for your personal brand, it's all about your messaging, promising specific outcomes, not just some vague expertise. This is how you stop hitting the reset button every single morning and start letting your efforts compound.
So let's bring this all together. The big mindset shift we've been talking about today, it's really about making a conscious choice to move away from a life run by short-term urgency and toward one that's built on long-term leverage.
And this table really just lays it all out, side by side. I mean, look at the difference. On one side, you've got the trap. Your growth is all about intensity. Your focus is on wasted effort, and all your decisions are driven by pressure. But on the other side, you've got leverage. Growth is built on structure. Your focus comes from clear positioning, and your decisions are guided by systems. It's a huge shift from just handing out information to providing real guidance. And it's really important to get the goal here. This is not about being lazy or even about working less necessarily. It's about working in a way that your effort actually compounds. It's about building assets that keep producing results long after you've put in that initial work.
So, I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Look at your week ahead. What is one repetitive, kind of draining task that you could turn into a super simple system? It doesn't have to be fancy, doesn't have to be perfect, just start there. Because that right there, that's the first step. That's where the real leverage begins.